Imagine this. You're far away from city lights, bundled up against the crisp night air. Your eyes scan the horizon. And then it starts. A faint greenish glow on the horizon. Could it be? And then it grows. Those colors shimmering, flickering, swirling across the entire sky. You've waited for this moment, and here it is. The magic of the northern lights. Okay, so maybe you're not there right now. But trust me, that feeling of seeing your first aurora, it's unforgettable. And my goal with this video? To help make that dream a reality. I'm no scientist, but I've done my share of aurora chasing. Let's talk about the first steps, the where and the when of maximizing your chances to catch this incredible show. So, you can't just book a weekend trip to any random place and expect the northern lights. There's a sweet spot, what they call the Aurora Zone. It's basically this ring around the Arctic Circle. Places like Alaska, Canada, Iceland, those are your aurora hotspots. But even within those countries, there's a lot to consider. First up, you gotta get away from light pollution. Cities are the enemy when it comes to the aurora. You need those dark skies. Think about remote towns, national parks. Anywhere where the stars really pop at night is a good starting point. Bad news. There's no 100% guarantee you'll see the lights, even if you do everything right. Nature's is unpredictable at times. But if you are picking the right time of year, you massively boost your odds. Aim for late fall, winter, or early spring. Longer nights mean more aurora potential. And even within a night, there's a prime time. Typically, the sweet spot is somewhere between 10 p.m. and 2 a.m. But let's be real. If the aurora decides to put on a show, it could happen earlier, later. It's a bit of a waiting game. Lastly, moonlight. Sounds weird, but a bright full moon can actually wash out the aurora, making it harder to see. Try planning your trip closer to a new moon for maximum darkness. Okay, so now you know where to go, and the basic time frame. But the northern lights aren't exactly a scheduled performance. That's where understanding the science comes in handy. Don't worry, I'm not going to hit you with a physics lecture. But here's the simplified version. The whole aurora magic starts on the sun. Our buddy up there is pretty active, throwing out stuff called solar wind all the time. But sometimes those solar winds get amped up. Think solar storms, flares, all that dramatic space stuff. When that powerful blast reaches Earth, boom, our magnetic field does its thing, and whoosh, you get the potential for an epic aurora display. But how do we know when those solar blasts are on their way? That's where the KP index comes in. See, scientists measure how active the aurora could be on a scale from 0 to 9. The higher that KP number, the stronger the show, and the farther south it might even be visible. Now, where to find this magical KP index and other aurora forecasts? There are a bunch of great websites and apps out there. Brief screen capture of resources like spaceweatherlive.com. These give you the predictions, but remember, it's still nature. There are surprises. Weather matters. Okay, here's the slightly frustrating part. You could have the perfect solar storm brewing, but if it's cloudy, you're out of luck. Checking regular weather forecasts alongside your fancy aurora forecasts is essential. No point driving for hours only to have the clouds ruin everything, right? Patience is key. Think of this as wildlife watching, but in the sky. Sometimes the animals just don't show up. Same with the aurora. Be patient. That's why you picked a location where there's other cool stuff to do even if the skies stay calm. The great thing about aurora hunting is the journey itself. Think cozy cabins, stargazing, maybe even a glimpse of some Arctic wildlife. The aurora? Well, that would be the incredible bonus. Okay, you've found the location. Timed it right. The solar gods are smiling, and there it is. That first flicker of the Aurora Borealis dancing across the sky. Naturally, you want to capture that moment forever, right? But how do you get those stunning photos we all see online? Preparing for the cold. Let's be real. When you're out there in the middle of the night in those prime aurora spots, it's cold. Like really cold. and numb fingers don't work well with camera buttons. The key is layers. Base layers to trap warmth, good waterproof outers, and don't forget those hand warmers and a thermos of something hot. Staying comfortable makes the whole experience better, so you'll have the patience to get those perfect shots. Photo tips. Good news. Even modern phone cameras can capture the aurora. The trick is to have control over things like exposure time. If your phone lets you, switch to a manual mode and start experimenting with longer exposures, maybe a few seconds up to even 30. But to truly unleash your aurora photography skills, a DSLR or mirrorless camera is ideal. You want a wide aperture, a high ISO, and most importantly, that longer exposure to really catch the light and detail. Don't be afraid to play around. The aurora moves and changes, so each shot can be unique. The tripod, your best friend. This one is non-negotiable. Those long exposures? Impossible without a sturdy tripod to keep your camera absolutely still. Get one that's easy to set up even with gloves on, because you don't want to miss a moment fiddling with gear. Beyond the visible. Think about how our eyes see the aurora versus what your camera can pick up. Sometimes those pinks and purples that are just a hint to our eyes show up vibrantly in photos. That's why it's worth experimenting. Longer exposures, different angles, even playing with zoom can unlock surprising results. This isn't a point-and-shoot situation. Take some test shots, adjust, enjoy the sky, try again. Wrap yourself in a blanket, pour that hot cocoa, and share stories with whoever is crazy enough to be out there with you. Aurora hunting is about those moments too. And if you've prepared, when those lights really put on a show, you'll be ready to capture something incredible. Now, I know not everyone can hop on a plane to the Arctic whenever they want those aurora vibes. And sometimes, even with perfect planning, the skies just don't cooperate. But that doesn't mean the magic has to end. That's why I'm super excited about our new Northern Lights projector. Imagine bringing those incredible colors and dancing lights right into your own home. Cozy nights under your very own aurora, setting the mood for relaxation, or even sparking your imagination just like those ancient people watching the real deal in the night sky. Think of it as a way to keep that sense of wonder alive, to keep the dream of seeing the aurora in person with you. And who knows, maybe it'll even inspire you to plan that next big adventure to see the real thing.